Only God can judge me. That right? Only God, man. Nobody else. Nobody else. All you other motherfuckers, get out my business. Perhaps I was blind to the fact.
Hello, villagers. It's nice to see y'all today. This is your girl Jada, and we are the Vill. I'm sitting at the table with Tay, Ali, and Thomas, and we are here to give y'all the real, let y'all know what's going on in the world today, and talk about some stuff that's been trending on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those social media networks. And so let's start off with the one that I know everybody has been talking about this week, because I think this is one of the craziest things that's happened in a while in Atlanta since the bridge exploded. So money flying on 285, y'all.
Wow.
So pretty much in Dunwoody Tuesday around 8 p.m., there was about $175,000 flying around the highway.
Wow.
There are people that were stopping their cars. There was video of people stopping their cars, just collecting the money, grabbing the money as fast as they can. Like, y'all, this is you would think that this is something that was on a movie. That's how crazy that video was. But pretty much what my question is honestly, what would you spend the money on? Like, let's say you was out there on 285 in Dunwoody on Tuesday around 8 p.m. And you got, let's say, I'll give it an amount. Let's say you got around $10,000. What would you do with it?
Oh, also, throw this in there. It can't be no investments. You got to burn the money. You got to spend all $10K. It can't be like, oh, I'm finna go invest in the property. No, you got to wild out with the money and you got to spend all of it.
Exactly.
I think we should raise it up. Let's say you found 40K.
40K.
Oh, God, that's more. That's a little more than a quarter of that money. Jesus.
I've always wanted to pay for a big trip with all my friends and everybody. I just want to
40K
pay
will
for
do
a big
it.
trip and have a Project X party, a big party, just one night, just one crazy thing. I probably wouldn't spend all 40K.
But you got to spend it all.
You got to spend all
You gotta
40K.
spend all of
Can I
it.
spend 30?
So what
keep
you-
it in?
No.
Or give it back. Spend all of it or give it back.
Yeah, that
Ooh.
shit.
I don't know what y'all come back to me.
40K.
Okay.
Come back.
It's
Teddy, what you
crazy
doing with
because
the 40K?
I've never really been the type of person to like cars until recently when I started working. I would buy. I started working for a car company. I would buy cars. I would go to all these different companies. I would buy a Porsche. I would buy a Mercedes.
You only got
40,000.
$40,000. Yeah,
Oh
what you
shit!
Yeah,
Fuck.
damn.
Oh damn!
You got it. You may have the down payment, but after the first month, you want some shit.
I gotta rethink this. $40,000.
A Jeep alone,
I'm sorry,
a brand new Jeep,
I was
40K
in
by
unloaded.
itself.
I was in my
If
world.
you're lucky, you can get one for 33.
If you get an old model, you might can get it more for 27, 25.
What am I gonna do with that? Honestly, what I would
I'm keeping it a buck, bro. I'm
I
buying
don't
some
know.
gas.
I
Wink,
don't
wink.
know.
I'm going to the clubs.
I might go to
Everybody
Bali.
eating on me.
Definitely getting a section. Got
Get
to
in the
spend 40K
section.
like
I'm
that.
going to Magic.
You can't
We're going to
spend 40K
listen. This
like
is
that.
Atlanta.
You can.
What you
I'm
mean?
giving back
Atlanta,
to the
yes, you
community.
can.
I'm giving back to strippers.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I'm making sure they
20s
straight.
at strippers.
Man, listen, 20s, 10s, 100s, 1s. I
Maybe
don't
not
care.
20s.
We're
If you get
blowing
them all
it.
at once, that's take a
We're
while.
blowing it.
Maybe not 20s.
Oh, and we're going to eat. Benny
yeah.
Hondas. I don't
Nah,
care.
Benny
Benny
Hondas is
Hondas
not
nasty.
Benny Hondas is
good.
good.
It's not,
Nah.
y'all. They have his.
It's free. You eating it.
Y'all, my
Yeah,
cook
you right. I
name
get
was
it.
Jose. My cook name was Jose. I just want to let y'all know that at Benny Hondas.
What they got to do with anything?
I'm dead.
Okay.
You don't understand. You don't understand what.
Buy
fucking
him.
dead, bro.
Buy him.
Benny Hondas is a Japanese restaurant, y'all.
Why is Jesus making?
Why is Jose making my food?
I ain't going to talk about this. Go ahead.
It's just so you would eat. Okay, so you would eat at a Mexican restaurant where Chinese people cooking it.
And see, you got the same philosophy Taco Bell got, and that's why I couldn't get hired when I was in high school, because they only want to hire Mexicans.
I'm dead. Nah, but to be honest, I ain't eating at no soul food restaurant that's had
Y'all
Chinese
all
people.
off
in there.
topic. What are
That's
y'all
just crazy.
buying?
Oh, shit. Okay.
What are y'all buying?
Okay, I got
Y'all
40,000.
greedy.
If I got
Food.
40,000, I'm definitely gonna ball out. I'm gonna go get a section. You know, I'm gonna definitely shop a little bit. You know, good little, probably about 10,000 of that motherfucker.
Know what I'm
I'ma
saying?
shop.
I'm going to shop.
And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get me a car. I'm gonna buy that bitch out cash, $20,000.
I'm buying
The
a
last
car.
$20,000. something affordable.
And that's not
like
an
a
investment. Cars
2018.
depreciate soon as they roll off.
Yeah, I'm getting like a
definitely do.
2018 or 2019 paid
That's
off
a
cash.
disclaimer.
25,000, and that's what I'm gonna do.
I mean, honestly, what I would do with the money, honestly, I would definitely go buying clothes. Like, I have a problem with shopping for clothes. Go get some shoes, you know, maybe a couple of purses.
Clothes.
Shoes. Yeah, but because like I guess $40,000. If it's not like a big amount of money, I'm gonna just go spend on the stuff that I just feel like I want.
Our viewers bringing up a good point. They say, "What about y'all mamas?"
Yeah, I'll just.
Oh,
I can't even lie. I am gonna cut my dude.
Listen,
So I'm gonna get my
It's 40 more thousand than you. Yeah, when the last time you had
I'ma get
$40,000?
my
You can make some shit shake. We forgetting y'all right.
Listen,
Thank y'all
mama
for bringing us back to.
No.
I'm gonna get my mama and my
Mama
brother
gonna have to
$1,000
wait.
apiece. Nah, I ain't gonna do my mom like
Mama
that.
gonna have
I'm
to
gonna
wait,
give like
bro.
$1,000 a piece.
We
Mama gotta understand I'm struggling.
If mama with me, she can eat. But mama
Mama
ain't
gotta
with me. I'm sorry, bro.
That's,
I'm sorry, bro.
I ain't gonna comment on that. That's fucked up.
Oh, good.
You know what?
So you
Well,
ain't gonna
my
buy your
mama
mama
is
none?
living well.
Right.
Say
Mama okay?
is living very well.
I'm gonna get my mama some cheese and I'm gonna get her some red bottoms. I've been telling her that
I'ma get my
since
mom
I was
$2,000.
I will
Why?
say this. One thing I really want to do, I always wanted to do is, like, if I had that 40K right after I graduate, I would like to travel, like, Africa, like, just go to
Yeah.
different
I want
countries.
to go to Bali.
You're
Like,
right.
just live
A
different
good
places.
trip.
Yeah.
like,
A good- now I could
starting
top a good
off,
trip,
like, from
man.
South
I
Africa,
definitely
going
wanna
to
go-
wanna
Nepal,
go back to Africa,
Kenya,
You're right.
I
Ethiopia.
wanna
I'm going
go
back
to
first
Bali.
class.
Bali or Greece?
I'm trying to go through all of that.
I want to see that
Greece.
black sand. I really like y'all.
Have you seen Bermuda?
Spain.
Their pink
Oh,
their
the
pink
I ain't
sand.
going nowhere near that triangle.
I want to get
Oh
married
no,
on
I ain't
that.
doing
one.
that play. I'm
But
so good on
But
that.
Bermuda is expensive to fly to, like really expensive.
I already looked it up.
bet.
5,000,
Super duper
6,000.
expensive.
You got 40K.
It's more
We got that.
expensive than like Costa Rica and other places like that. Like it's really expensive to fly to for some
Planes
reason.
go missing. I
In
mean,
Bermuda?
We know we're not going to DR.
you never heard of Bermuda Triangle?
Oh no,
I ain't going to
absolutely not.
Dominican
Jesus.
Republic.
Okay, well, Jesus. Well, now you know what we would spend the money on. All I'm saying is that I wish I was on 285
Hey,
on
what
Tuesday
BR at the
8
end of the day?
p.m.
What BR
like
stand for?
Huh?
What
Dominican Republic.
BR?
DR.
DR.
BR.
Nah, I heard that wrong.
Yeah, you heard it wrong. It's okay.
I want to go to
But-
BR.
It's what you thought that was Bermuda?
I don't know what he's
I don't
talking
know.
about.
It's all right. You know, you learn something new every day, player.
But yeah, so we just gonna keep it
I
on
just think it'd
rolling.
be.
We gonna keep it on rolling today. But
Pause.
Dang, I ain't even catch it like that.
I'm dead.
so y'all, does cultural appropriation hold us back? And I really wanted to give like really what the definition of what Oxford Dictionary says cultural appropriation is before we go talking on, okay, is it holding us back? Or we really want to say, okay, lay down what exactly is the definition. It's the acknowledged or any inappropriate adoption of the customs, practices, ideas, and etc. of one people or society by members of another, and typically more dominant people of society. This power imbalance is significant because it often plays out as members of a dominant culture taking elements from those who have been systematically oppressed. So, when we say hold us back, is cultural appropriation something that we're being too sensitive about, like everything, and we're just calling it cultural appropriation, or is it something that that is actually happening, where it is actually affecting our people that we actually need to stand up for? Like, what do you think is happening here in 2019 in July?
There's so many different aspects of it, right? Like we can look at it from like, well, one, we already know cultural appropriation is something that's going on. Like as Africans born in America, we influence the culture of everywhere, right? And so a lot of times we don't get the credit for it. But as far as it's holding us back, I sometimes think it can hold us back on a micro level as far as when does cultural appropriation, like, when is the line drawn? Because I was listening to Dapper Dan the other day when he was talking about his businesses, and we always talking about shopping black, shopping black, shopping black. But he was like, think global. Everybody around the world isn't black, just black. He was
Very
like,
true.
if you open up a grocery store, do you only want black people buying your grocery store? So if we do go global with music or just your business, other people in China, Korea, places are going to be wearing clothes like us, are going to be talking our lingo. Do we call that cultural appropriation? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we're getting paid for it, but the goal is to get our culture globally. So when is that line cut? You know what I'm saying? And when are we holding it back from ourselves?
I think that it's different because I think that cultural appropriation is very real, and I think it's something that's it's definitely happening. I just think that it's to the level of when the major things that are happening are going on in our world today that are pretty much causing where we feel like cultural appropriation is happening. Like, I think that it definitely, like, I go across the country and I see people wearing stuff where people call it American culture, but really that's black culture. And I think that we're the most oppressed, I feel like, in this country when it comes down to what's happening mass. I feel like it's a lot that's happening to just black people, not even black people in general. I think that just anybody of color. And then that's where I think that a problem is, where I feel like that's happening. So why don't but we're not benefiting from all this all this money that y'all making off of us, off of our culture, but you put us down in every way possible that you can. So I definitely think that it's wrong, but I think that it's different when it feels like it's a cultural exchange. That's a little bit different. That's when it feels like, okay, it's something that it's okay.
So
that's okay.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
When you feel like you benefiting off of this shit.
Yeah, but when you're taking advantage of
I mean, I feel like I'll take it even deeper. You know, with the Middle Passage, when they got all of us out of West Africa or whatever, they try to move us over here, and they took a lot of our slang and things that we did and stuff like that. But we were listening to something about I forgot that man, Killer Mike. And he was talking about how it's gotten to the education, you feel me? And what they're doing in the education and social studies, all we're doing is learning about what white people did for this country, what white people did for us. And we're not learning about anything that we created until we get to college, and we're taking electives like African-American studies and stuff like that. So I feel like it draws a line when it comes to education, because I feel like that's when it's really affecting black people and our mindset and the way we think and stuff like that.
I can see some of that. Hold on. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do y'all think black people participate in cultural appropriation
that was my next.
at all?
That was
because
my next.
I feel like it's easy for us to be like, oh, they took this, oh, they took this, oh, they took this.
stuff
But
and
do
make
we
it
ever
better.
reflect on ourselves and be like, is
I
this something
mean,
that we did?
Yes.
We don't
Because
say
is this shit that we do?
So what would
Think
it
about
be?
Black Panther. Remember when we was wearing certain Black Americans, African Americans, when we was all wearing dashikis and stuff like that? We don't all know.
Okay.
You know how? Hold on.
That's very
You
true.
know
I get
how
what
like
you're saying.
they'll tell you like certain cloths and certain designs represent certain tribes. We don't know as in depth, but you got to
can't be
understand
wearing that
their
shit at the
history.
club.
So
Okay,
they looking
but
at us, but no,
I
I've seen them do
honestly-
that. But they was attacking us like, oh, now y'all want to be African. Oh, now y'all want to
Yeah.
wear African
I get
stuff.
what you're
And
saying.
to them, they was looking at it like we was culturally appropriating. Now I'm like, nigga, we the same. Excuse my language. I'm trying to stop saying nigga. Negro, we's the same.
And honestly, y'all, I think we can do it at moments. I think that we do have moments where we are hypocritical about it because we do it ourselves. I just think that it's done to black people at a mass.
Yeah.
And that is at my problem when it does happen, when it's like, oh, like, okay, for when I see white girls wearing cornrows, like, okay, I get it, but when black girls wear it, we're considered ghetto.
But is it
So-
is it then a cultural appropriation when a black girl gets a straight blonde wig?
That okay, and that is very true.
A white girl to be like, oh, hold up.
So, yeah,
I can't wear an afro, but you can wear a blonde wig.
But
I'ma
see,
be honest
let me
with you,
tell you
when
what
I-
the difference between that is. The difference between that
What's the
is
difference? Break it down. Break it down
difference
for me.
between
'Cause I gotta
both
come
of those
back.
is that a black girl go wear a white wig. It's not something. Go wear a blonde wig. It's not like it's not a put down for them. You know what I'm saying? They don't. It's not considered. Oh, you're ghetto.
say something?
I don't feel like that is. I could feel like
black
if
people can be
white
so
girls go
blonde
wear
hair and blue eyes
cornrows,
and
that's
so-
I'll
considered
say
fashion.
this.
Black girls go wear
Let's be real.
cornrows. It's
Let's be
considered
real.
ghetto.
Some. Okay, so for some of them, I know some women that'll change their hair to different colors. However, I've also seen in the diaspora where black women are trying to lighten their skins.
That's true.
Even in Nigeria, 70% of Nigerian women
That's
are
true.
lightening their skins. That's a fact. They
Yeah,
got
that
that going
happens
on.
a lot,
But you
especially
got where
in
they're lighting their
Jamaica and places
skins,
like
even
that.
with
Stuff
makeup.
like
They're wearing blue eye contacts
That's
and
true.
wearing their hair blonde or trying to look more Eurocentric and even
Yeah.
changing their speech. To be more
That's
accepted
true.
and assimilate. So it's not always just because they're doing it for style. Nah, black people are getting in everybody else's cultures too, and sometimes, and it may be isolated situations
But why do you feel like they're doing all
because
that?
it's self-hate.
Do you feel like it's
yourself.
self-hate, or do you feel like they have to do that because they feel on the inside that they have to
If
do
you're
that?
proud of
that's
self-hate. Because if you're proud of who you are, you don't got
give a
to
fuck.
assimilate
It's
this.
an
But that's just how the
insecurity.
world's set up right
Now-
now. That's how white people
It's
doing this
an
right now.
insecurity.
Now,
That's
that's why I said I won't say all the time it's an insecurity, because let's just say I know black guys who grew up watching anime and they love Asian culture, and so they wear little Asian little shit, and they go to Asia, they learn Japanese. So I always
what's wrong with
consider
liking
that
what
what
you
you
like?
said. That's what I said.
What if a white girl be like, I like Afro
It's
wigs?
different when a white boy trying to act ghetto, though.
culture
Y'all,
exchange.
child,
No.
That's
please.
different when a white boy trying to
Culture.
act ghetto, though. You feel what I'm
That's
saying?
what I'm saying. It's a difference.
That's
So
different.
it's a
That's
difference between
different.
cultural exchange and appreciating somebody's culture and bigging them up. And then there's a difference from trying to assimilate and look like somebody else because you got self-hate, or you're taking somebody else's culture and you're making monetary gain off it, and you're acting like, well, we didn't know where this came from. Those
Yeah.
are two different things.
Yeah, you're right.
I like that. I like that because I'm gonna use that word now.
Yeah,
Culture
cultural
exchange.
exchange, you
That's
know?
exactly what it is.
Because I think that's what makes it a closer. That's what makes it an okay thing to happen. I think that when we're actually exchanging our cultures and it's becoming an exchange thing, and we're not just taking.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's where the thing is that when
Well,
we feel
look
like
at
it's a
America.
taking.
That's what America's supposed to be about. Land of the
Exactly.
free. America's supposed to be a melting pot.
Exactly.
And we
are our most of our blood is a melting pot. Like we're
Yeah.
a lot of ain't nobody
pure.
from one place no more. Okay.
Nobody pure. Ain't nobody
And we
pure.
all some of different somethings.
Some of
So we might as
and you
well
see
learn.
cultures exchange, or even cultural. Well, I won't say cultural appropriate. We even within the United States, where
Yeah.
like Southern culture versus New Yorker culture, or that's why they was talking about Lil Nas X with the whole the cowboy.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you see that all the time, and people were trying to say, "Oh, that's cultural appropriation." And I like how on another platform somebody brought it up. They was like, "Well, Post Malone does the same thing." So when it comes to cultural appropriation, who my issue is who is supposed to be the guarding the gate? Like, how come we don't have somebody like to check? Because a lot of times in black culture, the reason they run off with our culture is because we allow them to do that, and we give them the access to go ahead and just we don't say nothing. We be like, come on in. So
Yeah.
like, when do you as somebody of African culture stop somebody else or check somebody else for taking your culture? When do you do that?
But is it also a thing of like it's our fault for not taking the opportunity to do that before they did?
Say that again.
Well, we
But
didn't
is it-
have
is
the
it- is it-
resources to be able to do it before they did.
But in this day and age,
you have
like,
to also add into
for you to
cultural-
say you ain't got no resources,
But let's be
that's
real.
on you.
Let's be real. They do have more opportunities. They have access to a lot more
Yeah.
things than we.
Yeah,
what
they
we
could get their shit
have
on Fashion
than
Nova
to
and
be
shit quick and
able
get
to.
it.
But part of
But-
cultural appropriation is taking somebody else's culture and not giving them the credit for it.
That's
so yes, you
true.
may have the platform for it. However, if I take some of your stuff, I'm gonna credit you for it. That's why people were
But
getting mad at Gucci.
okay. So here's my
If I'ma take
question:
that
who do
sign-
they credit for? They just give all black people money?
No, giving me money doesn't. You just giving me a space
Oh,
and a
so you're
platform.
saying just giving the platform
platform.
itself? Let
Okay.
us let us be the
So,
image.
yes,
let
you
us
may
be the
put
marketing.
it out.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Okay, because I was about to
I
ask,
get
once we
what
get the
you're
credit,
saying.
then what?
Yeah, what we gonna do with that credit?
So
What
example,
that change?
remember when H&M had that situation with the shirt.
Yeah, that little boy.
And we
that
had
monkey
somebody
shirt.
that was black on that board. We could have easily told
Yeah.
them, don't do that. That
No,
is
that's
not
a-
the black
that's a good
culture.
point. That's very
So
true.
all
That's a
I'm
good point.
saying
That's very
is,
true.
if you're going to take something from our culture, because we're talking culture exchange
Yeah.
on a global level,
Yeah.
have somebody in that room
Representation.
that is representing the culture. So that
Yeah.
way we can say, okay, it's not just an exchange, but let's do it right.
Yeah, I definitely respect that. So if you're gonna add some black culture to your fashion line, have a black model in there. Put
Right.
some money in black people's
We
pockets.
need to see
I
our face.
definitely
now
agree
you're
with that.
opening the door, and now you're creating a platform.
And now it's
You see what I'm
becoming
saying?
an exchange. Now it's feeling more like I am actually benefiting off of this, and you're not just
Exactly.
benefiting off of me and my people.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
I
facts.
agree.
I like that.
I like
that. We making
that.
resolutions. We talking resolutions.
We
here.
giving solutions out with the problem, okay?
You know? So yeah, we just gonna keep it on rolling. So now I want to definitely talk about something that has been all over social media, the Ariel movie. So pretty much Miss Haley Bailey, she on July 4th, Disney announced that she's going to be the new Ariel. And this is going to be a live production of
didn't
the
have a
movie
childhood,
Ariel,
so
which
who's
is the
Ariel?
Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid. I'm sorry for the people who don't know who
Redhead.
Ariel is. The
I
redhead Little Mermaid. So pretty much, what is so interesting about this is Disney's white fans that reaction to this. They're literally saying that this is something that pretty much tainted the loyal childhood Disney fans' memories. Now, y'all, I honestly, when I first saw this, I was so upset because I saw how they made pictures of this black version of Ariel that they drew that were she was just this ugly black version of it was just big lips.
Had big
she
teeth.
was sitting on
she was sitting on a watermelon.
Like it was just horrible.
Yeah.
But then I sat and I thought about it. Here's my question that I want to put out there. If that was done vice versa, like Ariel was black and they pretty much did a white actor to play Ariel, would we not react the same way?
Oh, Twitter would go ablaze. They would light their ass up.
Well, what would we do? Like let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Princess and the Frog, she's black.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say they do a live version of that and the girl ends up being white. What would we do to react to that?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't ever think about it like that. We probably do the same damn thing. Niggas probably mad as
Disney
hell.
has to go. They go upside down for a day or two.
Say that.
Let's say we have Princess and the Frog, she's black.
Right.
Let's say they go do a live version of it and they cast a white actor to play the princess.
We've been mad before. We've had those situations before. But
So are they
I'ma
wrong
tell
for
you-
being
I'ma
angry
tell you
about
the-
this?
I'm gonna tell you the difference between
Okay.
that though. A lot of the times when they've taken us, and it goes deeper because you got to go into studying the history of the film. A lot of the times, black actors and black comedians weren't allowed to go on the stages or do
Had to do
certain things.
blackface.
So they did. That's the whole thing with blackface. So you
And
gotta
even when they were black, they still make them wear black.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Just
So
to make a
that-
statement.
Or white people. So that whole thing, that's why I said self-hate, that comes from all of that. But the difference a lot of the time is, and Hollywood, when they substitute put a white person in for us, it's usually like a real life story or a real situation where that person in real life was actually somebody of color. We see that even in the history books when you were just talking about, or like they'll show you pictures of Hannibal and all of that out of Africa, and he's from Carthage. You would think he was from Europe. Or the Prince of Egypt, they're from Africa, but you would think. So we see this all the time. The difference is this is a fictitious character. So that's a child's imagination. This is a new generation. That person could be whatever I want it to be. It is not real. It's
Yeah.
fictitious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they do this all the time, but when it's the other way, like it's different when it's an actual person. Thomas, would you want a white guy playing you?
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's
I
just like them
understand.
getting I think they got a white guy to play Michael Jackson and one in like this bootleg.
But hell,
VH1.
Mike wanted to be white
He
too, so
wanted to
They
be
shit.
can have
white,
Mike.
but-
You gonna get what you asked for.
Yeah.
You permed the damn
Like,
Michael. Got your
he-
nose the size of a
he
damn
did a
pencil.
lot for it, so we gonna give it to
you
him.
wanted
But
it and
this
you
is
got
a
it.
fictitious
Shit.
character.
I
The
wasn't
character
mad.
is not real. This is, and then for you to do that, you're
So
still
you saying it
pepper-
don't matter?
It doesn't matter when it's a fictitious character. This is children we're talking about.
Okay,
These
so
people
my
can be
so
whatever.
okay.
Why are you
Well,
arguing about a mermaid like a
see what
mermaid
he's
is
I kind
real?
of see what
I'm
he's
not
saying.
gonna lie.
I kind of
I'm
see what he's
I-
saying on that part, but the difference with the Princess and the Frog thing is they have that Louisiana, New Orleans culture in that movie,
Well,
so
it's,
it'd be
it's
hard.
European culture
It's-
in the area, Little Mermaid. They come
It
from
is.
Europe over on the boat.
No,
So, let's be
you right.
real.
You right. I ain't watched
Let's
A Little
be
Mermaid
real.
since I was about 6.
That
I know the plot.
That
I know
is
the
white
No,
culture.
you right,
That
you
is
right.
for
But
them.
mermaids
Let's
aren't
be
real.
But
Right.
I get it.
I get what you're saying.
But I'm just saying, like, let's just say it was flipped. Like, let's not act like we wouldn't go hard the
No,
same
we
way
would.
they going
We
hard. Now, they
would.
might be going a little bit
But-
too hard. It's racist. It's a little bit racist. But,
But the
We've been
context,
racist
but the
too, though.
context,
We-
nah. But see, that's
We can't be
that-
racist.
We can't be racist. See, that goes into the whole argument what I always get into about how black people can be prejudiced, but we can't be racist. So in some senses, on a small level, yeah, it could be somewhat the same thing, but on a higher level, like nah, like. We're this is a fictitious, it's not real. Y'all are complaining about something that really doesn't matter, bro.
Right.
Now it was different about if it was educational or this mermaid so happened to be somebody that's historical in context, but it's not.
You're
We had the same incident with the Star Wars. When
Yeah, you're right.
they was mad about us having a black stormtrooper. For historically, stormtroopers have always been technically stormtroopers are clones. So why are you getting mad? It's fictitious. Let's just go along with the story.
Yeah.
Too deep into it.
definitely. And they
I
they
laugh,
talk-
but I don't know nothing about Star Wars.
At all.
I still chuckled though. Like,
I
Star
never
Wars.
watched-
I did it. Though.
I never
Star
watched.
Wars is
Never
the
watched
most
Star Wars
successful trilogy of all time.
I bet. But Once you start getting the
70.
5s and 6s and 7s, I'd be like, this too overwhelming for me.
That
too
Chewbacca
long.
I
thing-
don't know. I
that
don't even know.
Chewbacca
It's
thing
too
scared me
long.
when I was younger.
But people that are into those shows, or like
Like,
how you into Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones is my shit, though.
See how you
Can't
into
even
Game of
flex.
Thrones?
Somebody had to get me into it.
Yeah.
But
Game of Thrones.
like
Game
people
of-
that
hey.
is like Game of Thrones of these shows, they're so embedded into this show, it becomes a part of them. It's like reality, and so sometimes I can get it. So like if somebody was to do certain things to Game of Thrones, y'all would be pissed. It's the same thing in a sense. It's just on the lower level. It's just
I get it.
It
I
becomes their
definitely
real
get it.
world.
That's why I wanted to put that question out there because I don't think people that are on Twitter are actually thinking about the vice versa. Like if
Yeah.
this was happening to us, y'all know we'd be hot on
We would
them.
be 38
We'd
hot.
be hot on this. So just I'm not saying let it go, but just I'm saying I think that we just need to ease up. Everybody knows this is a child's movie.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, we gotta realize
Yeah.
some people got a problem with change and evolution.
And let's be
Not to
real.
say that they right, but just
Let's be real. The best childhood Disney movie of all time isn't even that. It's Lion King.
It is. But that's what we need to be focused on.
Nobody even worried
And
about
that's
that. Lion
honestly
King
what
come
we
out
need to be
next
focused
weekend.
on.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm worried about.
Nemo.
Nemo is Pixar.
Nemo.
They all right. They all right.
Nemo
Lion King is.
Pixar.
All right,
We gotta keep it moving. We can't argue about this.
We ain't gonna lie about Nemo. Go ahead though. I got
Nemo is Pixar. Okay. Anyways, keep it on moving. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the section where we wanted to talk about death. I think that is. I know that that's like really out there, but we wanted to talk about this because I think this is something that really isn't talked about amongst the black community. I think
Until
that
it
it's
happens.
definite until it happens, and then when it happens, it's such a shocker and it's such a weight on us when it does happen. And I think that I wanted to give a little bit of information about how pretty much overall African Americans reported higher levels of complicated grief symptoms than Caucasians, especially when they spent less time speaking to others about the loss experience. So it definitely weighs a toll on us on top of the financial weight that
Let's
it
talk.
puts
Let's
on
talk
us.
about actually what it is.
Yeah.
Like so we gonna talk about like the taboo of
Yeah.
death in the black community.
Yeah.
So you go ahead and
Yeah.
spit them facts for them.
So, that pretty much wanted to open up on how death is really financially a weight. It puts a financial weight on us on top of emotional weight, and when you have both of those intertwined in one, it definitely affects you in a major way. So, we really wanted to bring not really a light, but just give you an informational topic that really opens up your mind towards something that you normally don't talk about until it happens, and then
Yeah.
when it happens, it's kind of too late by then because you're reacting to the emotion and to everything else that's happening on top
Exactly.
of that. So yeah, anybody want to go?
I think I can
let you
start
start
off
it.
on this because I've experienced where like you lose a family member, especially if it's in a tragic way, and then like you grieving through that process, and then you realize, oh shit, it's a $10,000 funeral. You got to pay for burial. You got to pay for tombstones. You got to pay for all of this stuff that people don't think of until it happened. Like my mom, she told me like a few months back, she was so pissed at my granddad when she found out he didn't have life insurance because she felt like, because she's my granddad's only child. So she feel like, damn, if you pass away, then you literally leaving that on me. I'm your only child and I got to bury you, and funerals are at least
Yeah.
$10,000 usually. So it's like we gotta think of not just ourselves, we got to think of our family. Like we have to think, it's like you're not gonna have to deal with this no more, but everybody else in your family
That's that
gonna
weight.
have to struggle to get you buried the proper way. Like
All right, and what I want to add to that, and I've said this before on the show,
Right.
one of the keys to building wealth in the black family, I will say it again, one of the keys to building wealth in the black family that poor white people did back in the day was health insurance.
life insurance.
Life insurance.
insurance.
What they did was when somebody died, the thing is sometimes I think in the black community we try to fight off thinking about death,
And we pacify it so much.
it.
Yeah, you're right.
We have to understand and accept death that's just gonna
Yeah.
come. But just like you were saying, we're thinking about your family. So not let's just keep it on the level where we're thinking about making sure all my stuff is taken care of. I'm also thinking about financially securing that my children are good in the future.
Past
the
Because
funeral.
when I'm not here anymore, what about that wealth? And a lot of times you can cash out for $250,000 when I was in the military, $400,000.
Yeah.
And they was only taking $30 out of my check a month. That's nothing. So if you can manage and put that aside and then you could put that money into a will or some way and have it to where that money has to be invested in something else, or you got that money to where your children turn 18. Now, if you want to start your business, here you go. If you want to go to college, here you go.
Yeah.
That's gonna do better for them than just making sure that my burial services is taken care of. This is a way to build money that continues to go over and over. That's just flipping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Eurocentric way.
And then you also think about, like, I've definitely seen, I think a lot of us have seen where our parents have had loved ones die, and I've, like, seen that weight that gets
GoFundMe
put on
pages
them.
pop up.
I've
You selling
seen-
fish plates at the church.
Yeah, and they're trying to figure
Car
out
washes.
amongst grief, like
Amongst
amongst
the grief,
that,
yeah.
like, and that's what's the hardest thing to understand. Like, you got to make lifelong, like, you have to make life changing decisions when you are experiencing some of the worst things that you probably have experienced in your life. So that in itself, I think, it puts a lot of stress on people, and is the reason why people end up getting sick after after deaths. Like, it just ends up happening because it's pretty much a cycle that people are trying to, that you're going through stress, you're going through the grief, you're going through all that, and all that is not good
And
to put on
knowing
your
us-
mental health.
Hey,
We
what age
still
you
gotta
supposed to
work.
go get that? What
And
age
you
you
still
supposed to
gotta
get
work.
life insurance?
Huh?
What age are you
I think
supposed
we
to get
start
life
working.
insurance?
Man, so anybody could take life insurance out on you, right? Like, so, like, my parents could have had life insurance on me. I don't know. I just know that when I first got life insurance for myself as an adult, I was 18.
I would say if your parents don't have life insurance on you already, I say you probably get life insurance once you get a job.
And get
Like,
life
once you get a
insurance
job, you can set it
All
up.
y'all got life
No,
insurance?
no, no. Well, right now, my mom has life insurance on me. Once I get my own job, like I start a salary
I have
job,
life
I'm gonna
insurance.
get.
I have life
like,
insurance.
I know
Yes,
you
my
got-
dad too
yeah.
got life insurance.
I have life
Yeah.
insurance.
I'm the only
bro.
person that
But-
take right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it's not late.
It's
If
not
you
too
are
late,
only like
bro.
21, so it's
You're not too
okay.
late.
You can start.
Like,
I'm just saying, y'all wasn't gonna tell me.
No,
That's why we having this show.
yeah, this is the point. And you can go get life insurance taken out on your mom or something.
Yeah, I could get life insurance taken out on you.
I'm supposed
You ain't never seen.
Yeah.
Not saying this what happened, but you ever seen Snap? When the women be killing their husbands for the life
Oh,
insurance money.
here's something. Did y'all see? No. Did y'all see that new thing where
Wait.
it was a newlywed couple, it was black,
I
and the
see.
newlywed lady, she killed her husband for the life insurance money. Found out his ex-wife was still the beneficiary.
Karma.
Went to jail.
Petty.
Oh, just to find out his ex-wife was still a beneficiary.
But that's why people
on
be
his
killing
shit.
folks. They
Yeah,
take
I
That
know it.
shit was
Yeah.
so funny. It's all on. I saw it on Instagram like 2 days ago. I was dying,
Don't
bro.
do this
I was
at home.
dying,
This is-
bro.
You better
I
watch out.
cannot stand America, y'all. But,
Oh, we'll find a way to get paid.
What? One thing about it, two things for sure.
Child,
man.
please. But yeah, so this is a great segue into our interview. We have a special interview today. Mr. Kevin C. Webb, he is going to help us, give us some information about life insurance and pretty much what we were just talking about, and how that is, what we can do about what we can do to get life insurance, and how that is going to benefit you as a citizen.
And he also gonna bring a point of like how that could be profitable.
Yes.
Just to shine some light on that
Yeah.
career path, because a lot of people don't know much about it. Yeah.
At all. Good
How you
afternoon.
doing, man?
So, pretty much, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us like a little short rundown on what you do, and on a day-to-day basis.
Make sure you get in the mic.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah.
I think you need to get some with the sound.
Genesis Asset Management. I've been in the financial planning industry about.
Yeah, we'll give you his mic right now because we can hear it in the things.
That better?
Yeah.
Way
lift it
better.
up.
Way better. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been in this industry a little over 20 years. So I've worked at some of the largest firms in the country and the world. In fact, Fidelity, Invesco, Nationwide. I've been doing my own thing for about six years now. So my last corporate gig, I had about $2 billion in assets under management. So corporate America was very good, very interesting. But I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. So about 6 years ago, I decided to start my own firm, and
Wow.
here I am.
So, all right. So my question to you is, right? Did you go through the collegiate experience to get to where you are? As far as, did you have to go and get a degree to be in the field that you are in?
I
And
did
what
go to
was
college.
that?
So I did go to college. I majored in finance.
Okay.
However, a degree is not required.
Okay.
To do what you do. You have to get a license.
Okay.
It helps to have a degree, but it's not required.
So somebody like you were saying that's trying to go into entrepreneur, I don't got to waste my time going 4 years in college learning whatever. I could just go straight in and learn from somebody. Okay.
Yep.
Do you think college helped you at all in your career path?
I think it did. It gave me a foundation. So I majored in finance, so I had a basic understanding of money and how it worked. So I think it definitely helped, but it's not.
Can I ask
determining
what school
factor.
you went to?
I went to Troy.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I just wanted to see what type of collegiate experience background. You know, it's a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
difference at the PWI and the
Yeah,
HBCU and what they put it in your head.
A little different.
I got a scholarship. I had to go. I went
Hey, I hear that.
Hey, that's what
I
the
hear
money
that.
was. That's what the money was.
I hear that.
Absolutely. But one of the main reasons I got into this industry was because of my own personal experience. So my father actually was a great provider while he was here, but he actually died in a motorcycle accident at the age of 33, and he didn't have any life insurance. So I saw the devastation on my family firsthand. So he died. You know, I was fortunate enough to play football, and I got a scholarship. But I saw that house, that dream house that he had bought my mother before he passed. I saw it get foreclosed on, and I saw my mother have to actually, file bankruptcy. And I watched my little sister go from a trajectory, of definitely going to college and having a great future to struggling to a point where she's just now going back trying to finish college at almost 40 years old. So I've seen from firsthand experience the devastation that it can have on a family when you have a breadwinner that has a premature death.
So with your job, so what are you actually doing? Like, what type of companies are you going for? What services are you providing to them?
So at our core, we're what you call an insurance brokerage firm. So we do all types of like insurance. So the bulk of what we do is around life insurance. So we do a lot of life insurance, but then we also do employee benefits. So like when you have a job, you have
That
major
takes
medical.
percentage.
So we do any type of insurance virtually.
What about
So
healthcare? Like,
we do healthcare. We do that both for individuals and for groups and employers as well. So basically, anything that you wanted to insure, we can insure. So we have some athletes, we have some entertainers, in which we do things like Lloyd's of London, where you can, if you're an entertainer, you need to insure your voice, or if you're an athlete,
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
insure yourself.
And that's smart, insuring your body.
Okay, I have a question about
Yeah.
that. How much do they put off on something like that?
Well, that depends on how much you're worth. Right?
Jameis Winston put 10 mil on his arm.
Wow.
They did it for him.
Absolutely. And
But
it's a
that's
good
smart
idea
though.
to
That's
do
what we need for real. Because once something happens, now you getting a check because they're gonna cut you off.
Oof.
For real.
It's income projection.
Yeah.
Projection, right?
Okay.
So if you're an athlete or athlete, so if you get injured, you're projected to get drafted in the first round, right? I mean, there's millions of dollars to come.
yeah, Nipsey had $2 million life insurance on him, on himself.
Yeah. That's smart.
Jesus, my Lord.
And so, what's some of the biggest things that you feel like people don't know about life insurance? If it's like breaking down to like term, or like if they're getting the wrong type of life insurance, or like what's some of the pitfalls that people usually don't see?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple things. One of the things that people don't really realize is how cheap it is. So most people think it's a lot more expensive than it actually is. So depending on you guys are very young. So the younger you get it, and the healthier you are when you get it, the cheaper it is.
Oh,
But,
okay.
for a lot of people, you get $1 million in coverage for less than $50 a month.
Wow.
And if we're talking
I
about
told you I had $500,000 for like $28-30 a month.
absolutely. So think about the difference that could make for your loved ones or your heirs if something were to happen to you, right? So that's term insurance, right? So like most people don't understand how the different types of insurances work, and a lot of people have misconceptions about the costs and then what life insurance can do. So, for example, a term policy, right? So the name term means it's for a specific period of time, right? So term is usually sold in denominations of 10 years. 10, 15, 20, or 30 years is usually the max limit of term. So that means if you die within whatever said period, 20 years, 30 years, whatever you sign up for, whoever you list as your beneficiary would get X amount of dollars.
Gotcha.
So that's basically what term is.
But I was seeing that, like, I saw an Instagram video maybe like a few weeks ago where they was breaking down different types of insurance. But one thing I was seeing they were talking about was, like, once you say you get term insurance at 30, and then for a 30-year policy, then you're 60, and then it goes up. Then it's like nobody else want to insure you again because they like you can die in the next 10 years. That's you're high risk right now. So we not finna insure you, and if they do insure you, then you paying like $150 a month, way more than you usually would have paid. So what's some of the pitfalls to get around that? Do you do I know a whole life policy is way more expensive, or like what's the alternative? What's the next step after a term policy usually?
That's actually a great point you bring up. So one of the things that I would say is this, is when you get that term policy, so why is term so cheap?
Because it's only for a
Yeah,
certain amount of time.
it's a cutoff.
The probability of you dying with that period isn't very high.
Yeah.
But in the unfortunate event that you did die, you want to make sure that everyone's taken. So I think it's essential that you have something.
Yeah.
But one of the keys in that is getting a convertible term policy.
Got you.
So most, not all, but a lot of insurance companies offer the opportunity to convert your term policy into a permanent whole life policy.
Got you.
within a certain
I was
period of
thinking a car.
Convertible, like that'd be a good touch right there. Convertible, yeah. I'm getting that one. That's something.
So a convertible term, what it does is it locks in insurability, because it's based on your status of today. So
Gotcha.
let's say 5 or 10 years down the road, you decide to convert that policy, and at that point you're overweight, or you've been diagnosed with diabetes or something like that. They have to convert that policy without evidence of insurability, and it's based on your health status at the time that you got the policy.
Wow.
Okay.
So another thing I would also say is consider getting a permanent policy. Right. So statistics show, right, that about 2% of term policies actually end up paying out a death benefit. Right? Because it's not you need it, right, just in case something happens, but the likelihood of a healthy person dying within that period isn't very high. But permanent policies, what percentage of them pay out?
Probably a lot more than that.
Well, all of them.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, all of them.
At the end of the day, one thing for sure, you gonna die. You gonna die. One thing for sure, you gonna die.
So, spoiler alert, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Womp, womp, womp. It's gonna
Now,
happen.
what is the price difference between getting something that is only for a term and then something that's permanent?
Well, it depends on how old you are, how healthy you are, and how much you're getting. Right?
Okay,
so
okay.
there's certain factors. But the younger you get it and the healthier you get it, the better off you are. So that permanent one of the things about permanent life insurance too is that they can build cash value. So a lot of my clients actually get permanent life insurance policy, which build cash value when they utilize it to create their own bank. Because once this cash value builds up in these policies, you can access that cash should you want to do so.
You loan for
Yeah, you can
you
take,
loan,
and that's what a lot of
borrow
people
for
do. They
yourself.
take from they
You pay
money that they are.
fee or your penalty from yourself. You
Yeah.
loan and borrow from yourself.
So then you could take out $20,000 if you want
So-
to help
like a
your.
little savings
And you know what? That's what
Yes,
people do.
exactly.
That's what a lot of people do too to get their kids through college. They take out that money, that $50,000 from there, that
That's so
$60,000
smart.
from there, and they get their kids
pay
through
off
college,
the-
and it's not affecting
Now,
their
can you do
immediate
it
money.
for a baby? Like, let's say you had a baby. Wow.
I do it
Yeah.
for both of my children.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can if you do it on a child, it can be utilized to fund college. Let's say your child doesn't want to go to college, it can fund that first business or whatever.
Or get them to travel and some
Yeah.
see the
whatever.
world.
So I got a question for you. With politics and stuff going on, one of the biggest things they're talking about in the Democratic Party is healthcare, insurances and stuff. And one of the things that a lot of the people that are running are talking about going to universal healthcare. So with you being an entrepreneur and having your type of business and stuff like that, how could universal healthcare or these things that the Democratic Party talking about affect your business and affect us who are trying to get healthcare and stuff like that if it does go to where the government takes over healthcare and stuff like that?
I think it's highly unlikely that would happen.
I do too.
Yeah, so I don't think that would happen. There's a lot of different ways that can go. So, now with the way things currently are, so it really doesn't impact me and insurance brokers as much, right? So you still have to have a carrier, whether it be when you talk about group health, it was Aetna, Cigna, Kaiser, Humana, Blue Cross, and usually there's an agent involved, at some point. It more so probably impacts doctors than it would.
Yeah, you're right.
Insurance brokers. So like the recent changes, one of the biggest complaints that it takes the doctors make less money, so you got to see more patients to make the same amount of money now.
Wow.
But I really don't
Oh, no.
foresee healthcare in the United States.
Good.
Yeah.
I had to ask because we voted in on these things, and then we were talking about entrepreneurship. That is you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't think sometimes we think about these things, and when we talk about individuality and doing our own thing, because if government takes over, it could be only a limited amount of spots. Just like you're saying, there's only when you go get your health care from your job, they usually only give you so many options that you can choose from, and so they're contracted out with these companies. What if you're not one of those private companies because you're not large enough? You could probably potentially lose your job or be displaced somewhere. So,
Man,
most people, when you're talking about affairs that deal with money or like health insurance, they want to sit down and talk to a person. So the government might be the middleman if that were to happen, but I think most people still would want to sit down with an industry professional at some point to have a conversation about who to choose.
Gotcha. Okay. And my last question for you, I see here in your accolades that you're part of the South DeKalb Chamber of Commerce. I'm part of one too. Can you explain to why that's important to be part of like a chambers of commerce, especially with you being in your background and your field?
As an entrepreneur, it's very important to be involved in organizations such as this. So the biggest reason, more so than anything else, is the network. Right.
Can y'all break down what a chain of commerce is? I don't even know what that is.
Yes.
All right, so I'm part of the Atlanta one. My political science teacher taught me about it. But pretty much, you're gonna have politicians in there. You're gonna have different people from different businesses. These are the people that run the city. Your county has one. So the Atlanta Chambers one is right down the street from the school.
Gotcha.
But it's like a fee you pay is like $200 and some.
Right.
Each
For a year?
one, depending on, some of them do a yearly, some of you know what I mean. But you go up there, you pay like $200 some for your membership. But the good thing is, I'm rubbing up against shoulders against people. I met Kasim Reed. Kasim Reed was part of the Atlanta chapter. I'm meeting some of our professors. So now you're paying for the network, but it's on a higher level. So with us having a podcast, this is definitely something that we want to be a part of, because now we're rubbing shoulders against people who run the city, who run the Light Powers, Energy, Georgia Power, big Fortune 500 companies. They're part of the Chambers of Commerce. These are businessmen, so you want to rub up against them.
At the end of the day, people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
It's a way to develop relationships with people that you would potentially want to have as clients. But the other thing I think that's often overlooked in those environments is the opportunity to trade ideas and ask people and have conversations with
networking.
people who are where you're trying to go.
Okay.
Wow.
I got you.
That was very informative right
Definitely. So,
And where can we get some resources at? Like, if we want to come like check you out, or if we just want to go somewhere and find out more information, like my brother over here who's gonna go get him some life insurance. Where do we go and how do we go find out more in-depth information for it?
You definitely can call me. You can give us a call at Genesis Asset Management. We'd be more than happy to help. We're actually looking for more millennials, Gen Xers, et cetera, to join our organization. So we're everything from internships or just directly hiring people. So one of the things I like to let people do is shadow me. So I would offer you all or anyone who's interested in learning more about this industry to give me a call and come shadow me and see what it looks like to be in this field.
I'm gonna take them up too.
So,
good opportunities right there, y'all. These some good opportunities now. We dropping jewels now. He dropping some jewels.
Hop on now, okay? But yes, we have now pretty much reached upon what we always do at the end of our show. We do final thoughts. We always want to give everybody a chance to close us out with whatever they're thinking, whatever's on their mind, whatever you want to let the people know. So who wants to go ahead and start off?
Advice from an elephant.
Oh my God. Okay. What's the advice from the
Inside joke.
Inside joke.
Hey man, think positive. Your reality will be positive. What you think is what you see. What you think is what you get. So if you have a positive mentality, then you project positive energy, positive thoughts. That's how you will be in the real world.
I just want to say, if you learn anything from this show, make sure you are planning for your future. Think about what's after you.
Yeah.
Build your own dream, or somebody else will hire you to build theirs.
Ooh.
One time. You can build your own dream, and somebody else will hire you to build theirs.
Wow.
Oh, it's
What you got?
me?
What you
It's
got?
not
What you
me.
got?
I was waiting on him. What? Like that confused me. Like that confused the mess out of me. Okay, we'll go back to Tay.
Shout out to my mom, my brother. Their birthday was like 2 weekends ago. That's all I really got to say.
Yeah, so pretty much. I really don't have nothing to say, but yeah, y'all. Yeah, just pretty much live life beautifully and just live life strong, and yeah,
Exactly.
That's how we gonna do it.
That's how we gonna do it.
So yeah, did you go?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I already went.
So yeah, this is your girl Jada. You can follow me on Instagram at The Real Jada Dean.
This your boy Tay. You can follow me on Instagram at _1 TAE_.
This is Kevin Webb. You can email me at kwebb@gamsg.me.
This your boy Thomas. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Thomas_Jones IV.
Joaquin Ali, JAQUINE, because some of y'all can't spell. _Ali, that's ALI at Instagram. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, just flip it around.
You know what? And this is the Vill on Power 108.9.
Yo.
Signing off.